right. Welcome inside episode number 3, everybody. We're doing this. We're really doing this. And tonight, we've got a live event going on as we speak that everybody's locked into. NC State and Duke is right now in action. We've got about 6 minutes and change to play, and the Wolfpack of NC State has a 10-point lead right now. All right, let's go Wolfpack. I think all of America, I speak for. Let's go Wolfpack. We'll keep you apprised of the situation as the night wears on. This is exciting. By the way, there's multiple ways you can watch this each and every Sunday night, okay? First of all, we're on YouTube. And so you can pop this bad boy up on your TV, your smart TV, your laptop, your phone, what have you. Just make sure you go to my YouTube channel at Damon Amendo. It's going to be there under the live broadcasts and archive there forever, okay? So that's one way. Also on Twitter/X, again, my username at Damon Amendo. If you're just scrolling Twitter, you want to watch it there, you can get us there every Sunday night as well. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you friend our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/TheDA Show. Friend it, and you can watch it within that fan page as well. So all the different places you can get this Watch DA Live wonder, okay? Coming up tonight here on the show, my good friend Gregg Caserta is going to join us. If you listen to my radio show, you've heard Greg join me throughout the years, either doing updates or even some bits like Canadian Bacon. He's one of the best, and now he's an amazingly important part of the baseball coverage this season as they kind of kick things off at MLB Network. He's all over MLB Network. And so we're going to do a breakdown of the opening weekend around Major League Baseball, some whip-around coverage with our guy Caserta, which is going to be awesome. Also, I wasn't thinking this week because my friend Mary Paoletti Brown, who is a UConn superfan, joined us briefly last week, you might remember. She had a blackout going on, so she couldn't join us in full. And once we decided she was going to join us for a full segment this week, Syracuse played UConn in the women's tournament. And she said, you want to put something on this? I said, absolutely. I didn't need the points. I know UConn was the favorite. I didn't need the points. Just straight up winner. Loser had to wear the clothing, the apparel of the winning team. Mary's going to join us coming up here a little bit later on, and I will have to pay off my side of the bet. And Q&DA coming up later on in the show, so make sure you keep those comments rolling in. Going to have a few topics for you to weigh in on. We'll do Q&DA a little bit later on in the show towards the end, okay? So that's how we're going to roll through tonight. Also, we want to thank our sponsor, Bacta Bourbon. My man! They brought you the Bacta Bourbon Bash, the Bacta Bracket Bash. They put on the line $150 worth of gift cards for the winner of not only the listener bracket, the follower bracket, the viewer bracket, the D-Alien bracket, all you guys, but also we saw $150 as a gift card as well come our way for the on-air bracket, in which the loser is going to have to eat the most sour candy of all time. That would be something called Toxic Sludge, which I still haven't actually attained, so we need to get on that. Promotions department, get on that. Thank you. So, want to thank Bacta. So, this This crew took care of us, so cheers to everybody out there, okay? Gonna pour ourselves a little drink here, bourbon. For those that are enjoying a spirit, perhaps a beer, perhaps a seltzer, or something even stronger. Salute, and to those that celebrate, Happy Easter, everybody. Ooh, that's my first try of Bacta. It's got a sweetness. Very good. Ooh, not a lot of burn either. Now, this is a hell of a bottle because this is a 2014. So we're going back a decade, and that's a $150 bottle of bourbon. So it's high end, and that's what's on the line with our bracket challenge. So Bacta, thank you for supporting Watch DA Live. All right. Let's do this, everybody. Right now, we got a 14-point lead for NC State, 58-44. We've got live coverage inside the DA Show studios, the Watch DA Live studios, so we have you covered. And when that goes final, we will react. But first, it's time for the Furious 5+1. I want to begin with UConn, the number 1 overall seed. And I'm just going to show you my bracket here. Ay, 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 ay. Look at all this red. Oh, that's all the wins. That's all the losses, by the way. That's all the incorrect picks. And in terms of UConn, this is my thinking here, because this is such an amazing run by UConn through to the Final Four. They're the number 1 overall seed, so this is predictable that they would get this far. They should. But by the margins they're doing it is shocking. To me, it's actually shocking, because last year, when they went to the Final Four, then won the national championship, they won every game by an average of 20 points in last year's tournament. Okay, so they never had a close game in last year's tournament en route to a championship. This year, they're through 4 games, and the average margin of victory is even wider. And I'm shocked by this because it feels like we are existing in a time in college basketball where you really can't build a great team, that the rules are kind of stacked against you building a powerhouse. It's not UNLV of the 80s and 90s. It's not the early 90s Duke team of Leitner and Hurley. It's not Calipari's one-and-done machine just stacking all of this crazy NBA talent. It's none of those things. That this UConn squad, it's got some NBA talent. Donovan Clingan's going to be a lottery pick. But it's not like these are all crazy NBA talented guys, or that this is, kind of some type of machine in every way, shape, and form, because this is an era of college basketball where the transfer portal spreads out talent immediately, and the NIL kind of evens it as well, because different schools can grab one guy here, one guy there. So it's really not supposed to be this way. And if I would tell you, in about, 10 days, we just saw one of the greatest teams of all time over a 2-year period, I don't think many people would think of UConn that way, but the evidence is there. So this is insane, and nobody's going to stop them. It's over. This tournament is over. I'm sorry to say that the Final Four doesn't matter, but it just doesn't. Alabama's had a great run. They ain't staying within 10 of UConn, and whoever comes out of the other side is also not going to stay within double digits of UConn. So in some type of crazy alternate universe, we're watching one of the single greatest teams of a 2-year period ever. And I think it's because Danny Hurley is a psychopath. Not quite sure, but this is mind-blowing just how dominant they are in a sport that right now seems to make sure that you can't quite be dominant. That's the first story. Second story, over to baseball for a moment here. The Oakland A's are playing in front of flies in the opening days of Major League Baseball's season opening weekend. And I just wanted to run down something for you, because you guys know I'm invested in the A's situation. And this is the last year the A's are under any type of lease at the Oakland Coliseum. Casey Pratt, my friend over at ABC7 in the Bay Area, tweeted out that Oakland, the city of Oakland, is going to put together an offer for the A's coming up on Tuesday, okay, for a lease extension. Now, the A's can't move in to Vegas, even if that ballpark does get funding and does get built, for 3 more years. There's another 3 years after this one. The A's need a place to stay, to play. And if they don't play in the Bay Area, they forfeit all of their local television money. And guess what? They need the local television money to build the ballpark. So they're stuck. John the Con Fisher is stuck. Because of this, they got to figure out a solution in the Bay Area. They can't move to Salt Lake City. They can't play in Nashville. They can't do anything. And they can't really play in Vegas either, because A, they would forfeit the local money, but also B, the only thing they got is an open-air AAA stadium where you're not going to make Major League Baseball players for 3 years playing 120-degree desert heat, right? So here's what the city of Oakland pitched to the A's. Number one, it's a 5-year lease with a 3-year out, which would give the A's some wiggle room in case the stadium's not done. Smart. Also, the A's would get would also, the A's, it's worth about $19 million a year, okay? They sell the Coliseum stake, all right? So they make some cash on that as well, the A's do. So this is ways that John Fisher can start making money to build his ballpark. And that Fisher and Major League Baseball would have to grant the city of Oakland a 1-year exclusive season to try to line up expansion owners. So here's the city of Oakland trying to use what leverage it has. Hey, we'll let you go. We'll let you stay here until you go, but we have a 1-year window where we get to line up a potential expansion owner and make our pitch. I think that's all fair, right? Also, if they disagree to that, the city of Oakland gets to keep the name, the A's and the colors, or John the Con Fisher has to facilitate a sale to a new owner in the Bay Area. I think all of that is totally legit. And Casey Pratt lined up like, this is a win-win for everybody, really. So I hope that the A's accept this on Tuesday. It would help move this towards some type of civil resolution. I like that story. Number 3, Kim Mulkey. She goes on the offensive saying that there's no way to believe bad journalism, gotcha journalism, fake news, fake media, all that type of stuff from Kim Mulkey, and that this was a hit piece done by the Washington Post and all of that type of stuff. It finally dropped this weekend, and it's kind of weird that Mulkey went just turrets ablaze on this because most people didn't think it was that shocking. And I think maybe she was really upset that they reached out to her dad and her siblings who are estranged from her. So, okay, you don't want a newspaper digging around with your family that you don't talk to anymore. All right. But the thing is, Kim Mulkey wrote extensively about them in her autobiography. So it opens them up anyway. So I don't know if this was that bad. I mean, basically it paints the picture of a hard-ass coach, which we all knew Kim Mulkey was, that she doesn't always play nice with her players. We knew that already. I mean, there's a reason Brittany Griner and her have always had a very icy relationship. I thought Kim Mulkey actually did herself a disservice by going so crazy, saying that this was the worst piece of journalism ever, because it drew more attention to the piece than it needed. The piece actually wasn't that bad, and I thought she ends up kind of looking poor in the middle of that. I'll also say this Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, this matchup, this rivalry, whatever we want to call this right now, even though Angel Reese said we don't hate one another, is just amazing for the women's game. It's amazing. Caitlin Clark and Iowa have been one of the stories the entire season. LSU with the national championship was that last season. LSU versus South Carolina was a huge story. Angel Reese's suspension, the vagary around that was a story. And now them playing again. Oh, it's just, what more could you ask for? So women's basketball right now is hot, and I can't wait to see this game. And I think that all of this momentum can only help this sport in the long run, not just the short term for these two players and these two schools. Next up, let's talk a little football as Rashee Rice, wide receiver of the Chiefs, is in the middle of an investigation by the Dallas police. Last night at around 6 o'clock Eastern, or 6 o'clock Central, actually, there was a car crash, and it involved a Corvette and a Lamborghini. All right. And one of the cars is registered or leased to Rashee Rice. Now, Rice became a huge part of the Chiefs offense in the 2023 season, and Mahomes loves him, so this is a big deal. And we'll see what ends up showing up. I mean, if Rice is behind the wheel of the car, then this is an absolute disaster. Luckily, people weren't killed, but they were injured. But if it's just a thing where he lets one of his buddies do this and they're street racing, okay, maybe it's a little bit better. But the fact that I think he's still missing, I don't know. Dallas police are still searching for him, suggests that he was one of the guys in that car. I mean, why would you go missing if you were not in that car? And it just begs the question, how remarkably stupid could a young person be, a professional athlete, that has just won a Super Bowl, is part of the best team in the NFL, is going to keep getting paid after payday after payday, gets thrown the ball from one of the best quarterbacks of all time already, and he's going to put it on the line for that. It's just incredibly stupid, and I don't know what these guys need to see. I don't know what needs to happen to them, but it's so remarkably dumb that it's just beyond the pale that they would even try this. Who knows? Maybe it wasn't Rice behind the wheel of the car, but it certainly feels that way. And now that he's gone missing, it really feels that way. And you can't even account for how stupid it all is and what a massive risk. Could you imagine getting into a car accident? But we saw what has happened to an NFL wide receiver behind the wheel of a car going over 100 miles an hour and getting into a wreck. And it means death and destruction and jail time. I mean, really, Rashee Rice? And that the fact that happened so recently and you would still take that chance potentially is beyond stupid. All right, final note here is on Purdue. This is amazing. The fact that the Purdue Boilermakers are still dancing into the Final Four after last year's loss to a 16 seed in FDU, Fairleigh Dickinson, following the same exact script that the Virginia Cavaliers did, where UVA ends up losing to a 16 seed and then wins the national championship the year after. It's just insane that this is happening again. But I got to give Zach Edey credit and the Purdue Boilermakers and Matt Painter. I thought they had upset written all over them. I mean, if you look at my bracket, let's see, I had Purdue out in the Sweet 16. All right, so I did not think they were going to win 2 more games, if not more. So credit to the Boilermakers, credit to Painter. I'm not sure if this is the new game plan. Try to lose to a 16 seed, then the next year you can win a championship. But they used these early exits as a focal point, as a rallying point, and it is working, and they're all the way to the Final Four. Edey with a monster game. And, you know, it starts to make you wonder, okay, after last year when FDU somehow made him look like he was 6 feet tall instead of 7'4", now the way that he's playing in the tournament, does it make an NBA team or teams, GMs, executives feel like maybe he's actually a fit in the NBA higher than you would have taken him already because he's actually performing when it matters most? Maybe. I'm impressed by Purdue. The one thing I'll say is they're still going to get blitzkrieged by UConn in the national championship game. But, I mean, hey, as long as they made the Final Four, I would say that it's suddenly a feel-good story. I mean, unless they lose by 40 in the title game, right? But it's a feel-good story. All right, at the moment, NC State still has a lead by 11 points, 62-51, with about 2 minutes to play over Duke. Let's go, Pack! This damn Dukies team out of here. At the moment, though, we're going to talk a little baseball. Our friend Gregg Caserta, who is a legend to all the D-aliens out there. This is a guy who once attained a mythical number in Canadian bacon. Let's go around Major League Baseball's opening weekend right now with our man, Gregg Caserta. All right, you seam heads, opening weekend is here, and so we had to make sure we took care of you as well. Our next guest is technically the host of Strike Zone and Big Inning on MLB Network and MLB TV. In fact, he handled Big Inning today for MLB TV, but he's also known as a, quote, DA show legend. That's what a couple of D-aliens have been tweeting at today, including this. Maybe the only man to ever balance being in the cast of thousands while also cementing his status as a legendary D-alien himself. That's right, his triumphant return to the mothership. It's Gregg Caserta from the MLB Network studios. Greg, how we doing?
DA, my man, great to see you. I got the text yesterday for the invite. I'm really happy I didn't have to beg to come on because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about reaching out and going, listen, man, whenever you need some baseball talk, I'm your guy. So, to get that tweet before, I'd said it on the show a few times, but getting a 5-winker, not once but twice on Canadian bacon, one of my career highlights. I mean, it beats making a major league debut on the radio, calling 2 Mets games. So to be remembered in that fashion, my legacy lives on, and it's all thanks to you and your wonderful universe.
Sure. That's right. We handled We always handle Stanley Cup playoff highlights known as Canadian bacon, and they are judged between 0 and 5 oinks for the bacon. And Caserta, now owner of the legendary 5 oink Canadian bacon. So now he makes his Watch DA live debut, and opening weekend is here. We're winding down on the opening weekend. Let's start in New York, where the Yankees were desperate for offense, for winning, for good vibes. They've got it with Juan Soto. They're talking about the Soto effect in the Bronx. What is the Soto effect?
Well, I just saw it on opening day, where you look at the lineup on paper and you think it's really not that much different, right? And yet it's a whole lot different with Soto batting second and then Verdugo in the bottom half. It's amazing what adding 2 lefties to that lineup has done. And Soto, when you watch him, and New York fans are now getting a real taste of it. Some of us watch him a lot, and now more people are seeing him in New York, and you realize that this might be the most professional hitter in baseball, has been for the last 3 to 5 years, where his first AB on opening day works a walk. And that's his calling card. He had over 130 walks last year. He doesn't give at-bats away. He has the best eye in the game, and anything up right now, he's crushing. I mean, his plate awareness, his extension, the way he can go up and get basically anything, and he just doesn't chase. Like, it's just a joy to watch him because very few guys have that approach. And then you throw in the fact that he's made a couple of really nice plays in right field. I know right field at Minute Maid Park is kind of shallow, similar to Yankee Stadium, but made a nice play on the run the other day going back to the warning track. The catch and throw to get the tying run in the 9th inning on opening day, and the energy that he brings. You see it, how he interacts with Judge. He's been a really good fit. I know that Yankees fans are already thinking about how they're going to court him in free agency next year, but enjoy the ride and let this guy do his thing, because right now, in that order, him batting second is just really dangerous right now.
Boone and Cashman owe him a lot of money if he saves their jobs this year.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
What did you think about the Oakland Coliseum proposal, the city of Oakland's proposal to A's ownership? I've seen it described as a big win potentially for the city of Oakland and for baseball as well.
I think that the fastest resolution is the best thing, so that this doesn't continue to get dragged out, because we know going back a few months, they're going to Vegas. It's happening. It's signed, sealed, delivered. And then a short time later, you hear, don't lock it in yet. So all along, I think the baseball purists like me and you, DA, we want the A's to stay in Oakland under the right circumstances. Because when you look at that ballpark right now, as bad as the Chicago White Sox are, they've been packed this weekend. The building's been filled. You look at Oakland Coliseum, nobody's there.
No.
And it's really a shame, because I think that if they are really conscious and they're really serious about staying in Oakland, finding a new site, making things work there, it'll happen. Because, listen, we know that there are cities that are clamoring to have a team. Nashville's waiting in the wings. Montreal's been getting floated around, but Nashville's really ready. They've got the ownership group there that's getting ready to bring a team in. So, A's, please make it work.
All right, give me opening weekend early thoughts, a team that is better or looks better than you predicted coming into the season.
So my pick for the AL Central this year coming in was the Detroit Tigers. And I'm sticking with it because I'm not impressed with the Minnesota Twins. I know that they're 2-0, but now with the injury to Royce Lewis, he's out for at least a month. Byron Buxton's a ticking time bomb. I think that the Tigers are legit. I really do. I'm not saying they're going to go out and win 95 games, but can they win 85-90 and win that division? 100%. I think a year under A.J. Hinch, you started to see some things in the second half last season. They've got a young, exciting lineup. They've got Colt Keith. They've got a boatload of former first-round draft picks in their pitching department, if you will. Casey Mize, Matt Manning, Alex Faedo. They've got a bunch of guys that have been hurt or haven't lived up to the billing, but I like the Tigers.
Okay, and because we always end on a positive note, let's talk about a team that's a disaster, a mess, a team that looks totally lost coming into the early part of the season.
So the thing I was posing this weekend is which fan base is the most overreactionary right now? Is it the Yankees, the Mets, or the Phillies? And I still think the Phillies are a good ball club, but the Mets are bad. I just don't think they're very good. I don't think that they've got really any thump in their lineup. I think if Starling Marte bounces back this year, that'll be nice. But there's a reason why people don't talk about Francisco Lindor having a 30-30 season last year. One of 6 shortstops to ever do it, and yet it kind of goes under the radar. He needs to be great, and I think he's really good. Pete Alonso, you know what you're getting from him. You're going to get 40 home runs, but is he going to hit 211 again? The lineup does not scare you. And they're in a division where it's the Phillies and the Braves. So, I thought the Mets coming in, they might surprise some people and finish about 500. But after watching the lack of punch in that lineup the last 2 days, still not really knowing when Senga's coming back. And your first 2 games, it's Severino and Quintana atop the rotation. It could be a long year for Mets fans.
So you're saying my investment in season tickets this year was another waste of a good check. Okay.
I would never tell you that. I think that you should get out to Citi Field as soon as possible and get a slice of Prince Street pizza, but that's about it.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm going to punt on the first month and a half or so and just sell those tickets, whatever I can get on SeatGeek. And then just when the warm weather is here, I'm going to go out there. K Corner is going to have $3 Coors Lights before the game. I'm very excited about this new promotion by the Mets. Going to eat, have a few beers, enjoy warm weather, be out there. Not going to grind out those 45-degree nights at windy, blustery Citi Field. Just going to go out there for a nice summer night, get some food, get some drinks. I'm going to enjoy my baseball and probably the opposing team and the opposing pitcher. Just, be able to soak up good baseball.
All right, so I'm going to float something out there. You and I live relatively close to each other. I know that you have way more of a schlep to get from your house to Citi Field. So how about one of these days when you're really desperate and you need somebody for a game, you give your pal Greggy a call. I will drive us to Citi Field and we'll enjoy a game together because I have not been to Citi in a few years, and I would like to go this year. So just when you think of me, give me a holler. I'll definitely scoop you up.
Okay, we are on that, and we'll bring back the footage for Watch DA Live. And just so you know, at this point, if it's a bad Mets team, my cutoff is 68 degrees. It has to be a 68-degree temperature for me to go. Before it gets there, I'm not gonna soldier through that type of stuff. So just when you'll see it when the temperature hits 68 to 70, then we can go out there.
I love it. I'm with you, bro. And it's great to see you and be with you. I'm sorry I didn't have better news on your Mets 3 days in, but the beauty is we got 159 games to go. So maybe the next time we talk, we'll be in better moods about it.
All right, this is awesome. Check out Gregg Caserta, the host of Strike Zone and Big Inning on MLB Network and MLB TV. Follow him on Twitter at Gregg Caserta MLB, also on Instagram as well. And he'll be a regular around these parts. I know a lot of DA-lians are very excited to have you back here in the fold, man. So congrats on all the awesome stuff going on in your career and everything. And we'll do this again, buddy. Appreciate it.
Can't wait, brother. Thank you for everything. You know I love you. I'm always here for you, and looking forward to doing it again down the road.
Back at you, man. All right. Very cool to have Gregg Caserta join us tonight here on Watch DA Live. And at the moment, NC State is still holding on to a healthy lead with under a minute to play in the Elite Eight, meaning that they are getting set to send Duke home. All right. It's been a great Easter, hasn't it? Who cares about whatever was in those eggs earlier today? The Easter Bunny brought us a Duke loss. All right. At the moment, 49 seconds to play. It's a 13-point lead for the Pack. When this thing goes final, we'll react accordingly. But first, it's time to bring in a very special friend of mine. She is here to taunt me into the wilderness. It's time to welcome in Mary Elizabeth Brown. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Mary, how are you? Your UConn Huskies look like they're waltzing to another national championship. You must be on cloud 9.
I am so happy. I was in Boston. I was there for the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight. I am very happy. It's funny you chose the word waltzing because it feels more like steamroll. It's something very violent, very, very violent.
Yes.
We're not waltzing, but I'm happy about it.
Why do they call you the UConn Twitter press secretary?
So last season, I think in November, I wrote an apology letter to the rest of college basketball when it quickly became evident that UConn was back, right? UConn was back full force. We found our identity again. Everyone else is really, really mad about it. People are extremely mad online about it. So I wrote this apology letter, and it took the form of a press release. And people seem to like that in the fan base. So I became the official press secretary. So I answer questions. I put out press releases. It's a bit. A lot of other fan bases don't get it. They don't like it. But our people seem to enjoy it most of the time. So.
Well, people are really not liking UConn these days because you're just destroying everybody for the second straight year. For those that don't know, Mary and I worked together in Boston many moons ago. She's a UConn grad. I'm, of course, a Syracuse grad. So there is a hatred that should run very deep. And so we've had a good rivalry over the years. And I put my big, stupid foot in my big, stupid mouth last weekend because Mary was supposed to join us. And then a blackout happened last week. And so we were going to roll that over into tonight. She said, well, how about going into next week? We put something on the Syracuse-UConn women's game. I'm like, yeah, let's do that because I don't have a men's team to root for this year. Let's go women's team. And so I'm like, I don't want the points. Let's just straight up. And the winner was going to make the loser wear apparel of the winner's choice. Unfortunately, as you might imagine, UConn beat Syracuse, although it was a very good game. And so I have to wear one of Mary's UConn t-shirts. Before I display said t-shirt, Mary, tell me how you chose this one.
So I actually was very, very nice to you because a lot of my closet is size XS up there. So it's pretty small, but I decided because we're friends that I would give you a small. So this was a kind thing that I did for you. I maybe could have found something a little bigger, but that was as nice as I could handle for you. But this is how you ended up with what you ended up with. And I cannot wait for this. I really can't.
It should be noted that I said t-shirt. Somebody has to wear a t-shirt. The loser has to wear a t-shirt. And then once we had settled that bet and virtually shook on it, you were like, damn, I agreed to that too soon because you were thinking a different article of clothing, which thank goodness you did not have time to rethink that.
It's true. It would have been very funny if there had been some team apparel underwear involved in this. That might have gotten you kicked off the air. I don't know. It's YouTube. Yeah. Maybe not. YouTube. Yeah, I think anything goes here.
All right, here you go, Mary. This is so difficult to stomach because I have to wear a UConn t-shirt, which goes against every fiber in my body, under this wonderfully pink Easter shirt. Here you go. It's a women's small. Maybe it's a unisex. I don't know. Here you go.
You're never going to be able to get it off. How are you going to?
I can't get it off.
It's scraped off of you.
There's going to be pit stains in it as well. So good luck. Good luck ever wearing this ever again. At the very least, I've ruined one of your UConn shirts forever.
It does. Oh, this is a great day. How does it feel? By the way, you should tell people what the note said because I did write you a really nice note when I sent it to you.
Yeah, Mary sent me a really nice note that said this is going to be the only time you actually feel like a winner by wearing this.
It's true. Do you feel good?
No, I feel terrible. I feel like I want to just like rip this off right now and throw it in a bonfire because you know what? The thing is about UConn, once upon a time, it was a great rivalry because Syracuse versus UConn, it was a 50-50 split. Syracuse had great players. UConn had great players. Syracuse had a great Hall of Fame coach. So did UConn. We would battle back and forth for 6 overtimes, and it was always like a split decision. And then UConn won a national championship in 99. Okay. Syracuse won one in 03. Okay. Again, here we are. It's pretty even. And then since 03, UConn has won, I think, 5 other championships, and now they're going to race to another one this year, and they're doing it with every coach. It was like Calhoun, then there was a Kevin Ollie one snuck in there, like a random Kevin Ollie one. Now there's 2 Dan Hurley ones. I'm counting this one as already. He's only been there for like 6 years. They've already won.
But you've got your TV money, DA. You're supposed to cry yourself to sleep with your TV money that you got for the ACC.
How does UConn just keep churning championships? I just don't understand it. I mean, since 99, this is going to be 6 titles. There was a Shabazz Napier one. There was a Kemba Walker one. There was a Khalid Elamine one. Now there's a Donovan Clingan ones. It's like, when's this going to end?
Never. This is your new reality. Actually, my idea is after this, if UConn goes back to back, we should just cancel basketball, really, because what's the point? No one should really try anymore because we're back.
I'm really okay with this because UConn's not going to lose. There's no way they lose to Alabama or whoever comes out of the other side. By the way, it is gone final. NC State has upset Duke. Mary, what a day. Easter is here and the Dukies are out.
So funny story about this, actually. I don't know if I've ever told you about my family dysfunction when it comes to college basketball. I was with my family for Easter today. My father's a Duke fan. My mother's a UNC fan. My sister Duke, my brother UNC, and then I'm in the middle with UConn. So where I've got friends who are like lifelong UConn fans. They went to their first game toted in a car seat in Connecticut. Their great-granddaddies played for the Connecticut Agricultural College back in 1901. But no, I've got Duke and UNC parents here. So my family text thread is full of poop emojis and boo for every game because none of us want the other team to win. So that's my Easter. Half my family is very upset with Duke losing, and I'm the only one who's happy.
This is awesome. The fact that Duke lost to an in-state team that they look totally down upon. It's not even North Carolina. They lost to NC State. This is just so embarrassing for Duke. It's awesome. NC State's an 11 seed, even doubly awesome. NC State had a losing record of the ACC, triply awesome, and beat them en route to a Final Four. God bless. This is the best Easter ever. He has risen, and his name is DJ Burns. It's amazing. Okay. Now, part of this bet, I just have to finish this off, is I have to read a poem as well. Now, Mary was supposed to write a poem, but she didn't. She flaked out like many UConn
I've been
students.
At the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. I'm sorry, I've been busy.
Yeah. So like a good old UConn student, she cheated by making ChatGPT do her work for her. So here is a poem that the robots made that I have to read. Okay, here he goes. In Syracuse, where the snow falls deep, Orange fans continue to weep. Their concrete sarcophagus, once a fearsome sight, now lets opponents take flight. The three-point shots, once pure as gold, now clank off the rim, a story untold. Free throws, a nightmare, a painful display. Even Jim Boeheim looks the other way. The Carrier Dome, once a fortress of cheers, now echoes with groans and tumbleweeds jeers. Opposing teams, they strut and they preen as the Orange struggle to score even 14. Nice. Nice ChatGPT. Nice AI. Nice robot.
Even 14.
Even 14. We can't even score 14 points. Also, there's a sarcophagus in this.
Hey, you guys beat Georgetown this year and finally got back on the right side of Colgate after losing to Colgate the previous 2 years. So, yay, you did it.
Well, I'm so glad your visit here to this show has expanded to 2 appearances. What a thrill. What a joy it's been. Congratulations to UConn, to you, the UConn press secretary on Twitter, for going to yet another Final Four. I don't know. I think the line is 11. I looked at this today. I'm like, yeah, I would totally lay the 11.5 with UConn against Alabama. I just don't think there's going to be a close game. Are you nervous about any of the matchups the rest of the way?
So nervous? No. While I was sitting there watching the Elite 8 game, and the first half was close, right? I was not nervous. I was frustrated with them because they do this sometimes. They have that first half where they stink for us, relatively stink for us. But you know they're going to pull it out in the second half. You know what they can do. You know they're going to get the wagon in gear, and it happens. So it's not a nervousness. I'm excited. I want to beat the best. I want to get the best team at their best. I'm ready for it, especially with everyone saying what a cakewalk UConn always gets. Bring it on. Everyone wants to see Purdue. They want to see Edey versus Clingan. Let's do it. I'm excited.
Just note this to all you Dalians out there. Mary did you a great service by forgetting to add in other apparel because it could have been this. Good Could you imagine how awful that would have been? Oh, God. That would have been painful. This was painful enough. I didn't need a G-string down there as well that had Huskies' faces on it. Mary, congratulations on the tournament stomp. Maybe we'll have you on next Sunday. Well, maybe we'll have you on a week from the championship. That way you can actually properly celebrate. We wouldn't want to get ahead of ourselves, would we? But thanks for joining us as always.
Good to see you. Try not to get that shirt to me in 10 pieces. If you can try to get it back to me in one piece, that would be ideal. Thank you.
I'm actually going to go to the gym in this thing so that it really reeks. It's going to be disgusting. You'll never wear it again.
Keep it. It's yours.
All right. Mary Elizabeth Brown joining us this morning here on the show. Good stuff from Mary as well. All right. Things have gone final, and this is awesome. This is so awesome. I've got to cover up because if we clip this for social media, I cannot be seen wearing this disgusting logo on my chest. My God. So bad. Our final four is set. UConn, Alabama, Purdue, and NC State. This is incredible. NC State. All right. Am I properly? Okay. Covered up. Let's talk about this. Yes! This Duke team, out of all Duke teams, has been one of the most annoying Duke teams ever, and that is saying something. Oh, please don't rush the court. Oh, wait a second. When you rushed the field against Clemson, that was totally okay, right, in football? But when somebody rushes the court on you in basketball, no, please don't do that. Get out of here. Bunch of whiners, fakers. The worst is Duke. Oh, always above. Always from the ivory tower. Coach K began this many moons ago, and it just continues under Shire. Number two, Kyle Filipowski clearly trips a player. Clearly sitting down there on the floor, sticks his leg out. I don't even know why you would say that it was tripping. I had no idea where the player even was. Shut up. You're lying. Then we find out that during shoot-around, you have Duke fans that are just saying disgusting, awful, vicious, terrible things. Here's a bunch of pseudo-Ivy Leaguers. This is like a school that's on that type of educational level, and all they can do is be crude and disgusting and lewd with what they say. Be clever. You're Duke. Aren't you supposed to be a little smarter than your average knuckle draggers? No, of course not. So enough with all of them. And now here they are in the Elite Eight, and NC State's not a safety school for Duke. NC State is a community college to Duke. NC State is a vocational school compared for Dukies. And here they are as the 11 seed with a losing record in the ACC, gutting them right before the Final Four, shanking them. I love it. Let me tell you this. I've been to Raleigh. I've partied at NC State. Many moons ago, I was doing a road trip from Fort Myers, Florida, where I was working, back up to, I think I flew back from Charlotte because I had a buddy of mine doing a full road trip. He had changed jobs from Fort Myers, Florida, my first job, all the way up to New York City. So I drove him halfway, and then I took a flight back, or I drove with him. Our final stop was NC State in Raleigh, and so we partied one night. Things got a little sideways as they are usually in Raleigh on that campus, and I'm like, whoa, these people know how to party. And that was when I was like 23 years old. And so I was seeing firsthand, even in my prime, what it was like to go to NC State. Go Pack. Big old DJ Burns, that's a big boy. Going to the Final Four, I love it. I love everything about this. An 11 seed, sub 500 in the ACC, and you're still dancing. That is amazing. We needed some Cinderella. We needed a dash of Cinderella, and we got it. I love it. Who had NC State in the Final Four? Not me, but I couldn't care less. Okay. That being said, I think it's perfect time for the Bacta Bracket Bash. Okay? The Bacta Bracket Bash standings. So here we go. We have standings here to show you who is in first place for not only the listeners, but also to show you who's in first place with the on-air personalities as well. And when we flash up this graphic, you're going to see that in terms of the on-air guys, winner gets a $150 gift certificate to Bacta Spirits, which could get you this wonderful bottle of Bacta 2014 bourbon if you so choose. or anything else. Loser has to eat something called toxic sludge. Look at that. The artist formerly known as Mraz is in first place, and he's got UConn winning the whole thing. My goodness. Now, look, everybody that's in the top 6 all has UConn winning. Shep, Babchick, Pete the Body, Bogish, Gelb, everybody's got UConn. I was the lone Houston Cougars. They're obviously done. Jamal Shedd's injury killed him the other night. And then the Marquette Marvel, look at that at the bottom, had Marquette. Oh, boy. But Mraz, with Shep lurking right now, is in first place. And if Mraz gets this $150 gift card, what you need to do is tell Mraz to get himself this delicious 2014 bourbon. Then he can have it at Bob's Bar, and then you can show up and drink it all, right? Or maybe he should drink that for the Ranger Stanley Cup win, right? If they're skating around with the cup, imagine cracking this. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. I'm drinking it right now because I'm wearing a stupid UConn t-shirt. So there you go. Last place in this challenge has to eat the most sour candy on earth, which is called toxic sludge. I've never seen it. I don't know what it is. I think it's some type of taffy or gum or something like this, and it looks like it's going to be Aiden. Thank goodness for Aiden picking Marquette, because I think he's got no points left to earn, meaning that since he's in last place and he doesn't have a champion, I think he has UConn in the championship game, though, so he might have one more win in there, but so do I. I don't think there's any way he can catch me. I think it's done, and Aiden's going to have to eat this thing on Watch GA Live, which will be fun for the whole family, right? Don't you love that punishment? Here he is, nicest guy in the world. He says, like, I believe in you, DA. I believe in your vision. I love this Watch DA Live concept. I want to be part of it. I'm going to work my ass off for you. This is the type of guy that he is. He's worked his butt off for me as an intern, worked his butt off for me as an assistant, worked his butt off for me for an executive producer role here on the show. And what's he rewarded with? Eating toxic sludge. So there you go. With friends like me, allies like me, who needs enemies? So there you go. How great is this? Oh, it's called toxic waste. PB Boys Pumps tell me toxic waste, toxic sludge is all the same to me. I don't know. I'm not eating it. Who cares? Sorry, Aiden. So there you go with that. And if I'm not mistaken, Johnny Utah's still in first place in our listener bracket. I think he's still in first place. If I'm not mistaken, he's been leading most of the way. But as we stand right now, UConn, Alabama, NC State, and Purdue are your final 4 teams. Amazing. Once again, thanks to Bacta Spirits. I mean, how cool is this? If you have been watching since episode number 1 3 weeks ago, or even watching the live streams before that, we went live after the Super Bowl, after the All-Star Game Skills competition of the NBA. We did a Q&DA as well, and then we did NFL free agency. You know we've been starting to build something here online digitally. And I reached out to a couple of businesses and people in the world of sports talk, sports media, pairing their audience or their shows with high-end type of product. And I had multiple people say, you know what? This is going to work. We want to be part of it. And Bacta was one of them. And so I just want to say thank you. The D-Aliens, there's nobody like them. There's just nobody like them. And that's what is going to make this thing sail, this Watch DA Live every single week. So Bacta is smart for jumping on board, and thank you for rewarding them. It's a big deal, $150 gift card to you guys to win for nothing, for just joining a bracket challenge. That means a lot. So Bacta, thank you. I know the D-Aliens appreciate it as well. And we'll keep working with people that love what we do and believe in the vision and believe in the concept. We're doing this every Sunday night and ending the week and getting together and having a drink and winding down and joking around and having a good time and talking to good people. We've got photos around here, friends of DA. That's what it's all about. We got D-Aliens and photos. And once you have all that together and maybe a little booze as well, you're feeling good and doing well. I've done 5 sports topics. Now it's time for the +1. Did you see this story? I love this story. This is, by the way, an ode to an old school hip hop band, the Furious 5 +1. If you look them up, they're fantastic, back from the early to mid 80s. The +1's always a non-sports story. The door from Titanic, the prop, not the actual one, from the movie, has sold at auction. It is a recreation of a piece of debris salvaged for the 1912 shipwreck. It sold for $718,000. $718,000, part of a trove of memorabilia from Planet Hollywood. Okay, the whip from Indiana Jones to the Temple of Doom sold. The bowling ball from Kingpin sold as well. Some really wild movie paraphernalia and memorabilia sold. So I was thinking to myself, okay, this door is significant because it's the door that she floats on after the thing goes down, the thing being the ship, of course. Okay, so it's a very recognizable scene. It's a large item. It's approximately 8 feet long, 3.5 feet wide, and it bears a striking resemblance to the actual piece of debris salvaged from the shipwreck. So it's ornate, it's interesting, it's significant. Okay. I don't think that's the best door in Hollywood history. I really don't. I made a quick list here. Doors I would spend $700,000 on, not the Titanic door. First of all, the coolest shaped door in Hollywood history is Bilbo Baggins' green circular door from Lord of the Rings. I mean, first of all, it's green. It looks like a big hubcap. And it's Bilbo Baggins. That's a way cooler door than an old door from a shipwreck. Not impressed. I also thought, if I'm going to spend $700,000 on a door, I think the door with the axe thrown into it by Jack Nicholson in The Shining is way cooler than the Titanic door. That's a really heavy door. I mean, it took an axe from Nicholson. That's a more significant door in cinematic history. But really, the only door I truly would spend $700,000 on would be a Scooby-Doo door. Because a Scooby-Doo door, you pull a trophy from a trophy case or some type of piece on the mantle, like a candlestick, and it swivels around and you get to go into some type of secret passageway, room, hallway, where perhaps it's a bad guy, perhaps it's the treasure, perhaps it's some type of top secret layer, but you never know. That's the type of door you spend $700,000 on. A prop that was in a movie is not that cool. What's really cool is the door from Scooby-Doo that turns into a secret passageway. All right, that's your plus one. Let's get to your Q&DA, boys and girls. As we always like to encourage you, send your commentary throughout the night, and I'll get to a few of them. The Market Marvel Aiden will pick the very best, then flash them up on the screen, and so we can go ahead and do that. Moist Pork sends in 1 second, DA, $150 bourbon with ice. Yeah, of course. I mean, look, if you want to drink this neat, God bless. I'm not going to stop you. But remember, I am drinking this and also having to stay hydrated as I do a 1-hour talk show. So neat, I could sip it. But a little chilled is even better. It's more refreshing. All right. What else do we got here, Aiden? Send us more Q&DAs. Craig says, DA, I think Gregg Caserta has way outdressed you. Yeah. He's in a TV studio. I'm in my basement. Now, look, this studio is amazing. But Gregg Caserta is actually at MLB Network right now. He should be in a shirt and tie. I should not be. Imagine I was wearing a shirt and tie in my house and then going upstairs for dinner after this. I picked up sushi for the Bourbon Belle and I. She's put AJ down to bed tonight. He usually goes down around 7 o'clock, so she's probably about crushed all the sushi. But I'm just going to go upstairs and eat a few, shrimp tempura rolls. What I don't need to be is in a collar and a tie. Unnecessary. I'd look like a complete idiot walking up those stairs. So this right here is everything I need. What else we got here, Aiden? Zach tweets in, thank God I'm not in last, LOL. That's Zach Gelb, friend of the DA show for a long, long time. D-Aliens know and love him. And he's also engaged in our bracket challenge, the Bacta Bracket Bash, and he is not in last place, and he is very thankful for that, as we all are. Aiden, thanks for taking a bullet for us. What else we got here on Q&DA? Timbo Slice, Mraz would use that gift card at a fake speaker from the Lowe's parking lot. Yes, he probably would. We've heard a few stories of where he's an easy mark. So probably best that he has to use this on a spirit from a high-end place like Bacta Spirits. I would agree with that. Let's try to make sure we steer him away from just straight cash or like an Amazon gift card, which he could use on just about anything, or to keep this very narrow for Mraz. Very, very narrow. What else we got here on Q&DA? Matt says, serious question. Is the Mets season already over? I'm not joking. No, but I don't think many of us expected much this year. The rotation's clearly a nightmare. And I thought they would hit pretty well this season. I still think they should. The problem is, do they have enough for a long haul in a really tough division? The Braves are going to be a 100-win team this year. If Vegas had their over-under as 101.5, imagine having a win total of over 101 wins. That's how good they should be. Phillies are really good as well. But it's so early. And if you're going to rely on offense, which I think the Mets are going to because their starting pitching isn't great, you got to wait for the bats to see if they can heat up when the warm weather gets around. This weekend here in New York has been okay, but, I think they'll be more like a 500 team instead of a winless team. Okay? I don't think they're 100 losses, but I also don't think they're much more than a 500 team, so I don't have high expectations anyway. All right, anything else we got from the Marquette Marvel on the Q&DA section? Alan says, Babs versus DJ Burns in a food eating contest, please. I'm sure Babs could do very well. My cohort on my radio show on SiriusXM weekday morning, 6 until 9 Eastern time, channel 82. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Nobody's taking down DJ Burns. That's a big one. That's a defensive lineman playing basketball. And we love it. We love it. By the way, we also love the Baltimore Orioles having a hot start as well, because that means Little Mo is smiling from upstairs. And finally, PB Poise Pump says, let's toast together, DA. I got a glass. Hashtag toast. Toast to everybody out there, baby. Thank you for making Watch DA Live sing. The last couple of weeks have been awesome. We've had so much fun. The team here has been totally all about it. Myself, Aiden, everybody that's been kind of pitching in from a lot of different walks of life that's been like, I want to be part of this. They're all like, wow, the viewers are really cool. We've been watching the chat, watching the comments, seeing the social media feedback. So that much is very obvious. And thank you guys for holding it down for us. At the end of shows, I'd like to do a momentous moment of the week in honor of my friend Little Mo, who passed away a couple of years ago, but he always had a smile on his face. He dealt with a lifetime, basically, of health ailments, but he never lost the spirit and the love and the laughter. And he called my show many times, and he became a friend of the show. And I got to meet him in person and go down to Baltimore to spend a day with him. And now he's a civic hero in Baltimore for the Ravens, for the Orioles, for everybody there. And obviously, all of our hearts go out to everybody in Baltimore for the tragic sequence that when the bridge went down earlier this week. But in honor of Little Mo, we want to find something good to smile about as we go into the end of the weekend. And I just want to highlight Aaliyah Gales. Now, she's a reserve on USC's women's team, and USC is playing tomorrow in the Elite Eight. And she was 2 years ago shot at a house party. And very cool by USC, even though she underwent major surgeries after that. They said, we're not bailing on this scholarship. They said, we're in on it. Gales suffered fractures in both arms and legs, had multiple surgeries to repair her damage. They didn't know when she'd be able to walk, run, or play basketball again, and she just attacked the rehab. She has had this amazing spirit throughout the whole thing. Smiles, optimism. She wants to be part of that team, and she has fought her way back onto the team, and she's part of a team right now that's in the Elite Eight, which is just amazing. It's had a great regular season. Everybody on the team says she's our spirit, she's our heart. What she has shown has been like next level, and I just think that is such a cool story of a college athlete that just was not going to be told no. She was not going to be told no. Innocent victim of a terrible shooting at a party, and here she is, and boom, she is still competing. So to Aaliyah Gales of the USC Trojans on the women's side, much love, amazing story. Keep getting after it. You're inspiring a lot of people right there. All right, that's going to do it for us this morning or this afternoon or this evening, depending on where you're listening, how you're listening, or when you're listening, because you could watch this whenever. It's going to be archived forever on YouTube and on Instagram, or I should say, and on Facebook and on Twitter/X. So even if you miss a live show, you can always go back and watch it. How cool is this? So we will sign off right now. Thanks to all the photos that made this thing happen today. Gregg Caserta and Mary Elizabeth Brown joining us. Thanks to the staff as well, led by executive producer Aiden Hatton. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. This is Watch DA Live every Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your Sunday night, everybody. We will see you next week. Have a great one. The Mothership disconnects.